Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Konrad Gorlinski. Poland's diversified economy has been enjoying stable economic growth in recent years, as well as a sound macroeconomic framework, against governance indicators and income levels lower than rated peers. Therefore, the Fitch rating agency confirmed the long-term rating of Poland in foreign currency at A- with a stable outlook. According to Fitch, the stable outlook reflects the resilience of Poland's economy to the coronavirus shock, an expected boost to medium-term growth from next-generation EU funds, and our expectations that after deteriorating sharply in 2020, the budget deficit and public debt levels will both improve from 2021 as pandemic support measures are wound down and the economy recovers, the agency said. At the same time, Fitch upgraded Poland's short-term foreign currency IDR, or issuer default rating, to F1 from F2, due to its robust international liquidity position, according to the statement. Fitch also raised Poland's GDP growth forecast for 2021, 22, and 23. The Polish economy is expected to expand by 5.2% this year, 4.4% previously, by 4.5% next year, and by 3.8% in 2023, with forecasts taking into account support from the next generation EU funds, the statement shows. According to the agency, the reasons for the lack of approval to date of the Polish recovery plan by the EU are largely political and pose rather a risk of delay than a cancellation of Poland's tranche. Fitch also expects the Polish general government deficit at 3.8% of GDP in 2022 against the government's expectation of 2.8% and at 3% in 2023. Polish state-owned oil refiner PKN Orlen will partner with GE Renewable Energy in a mammoth-scale offshore wind farm project on the southern Baltic Sea. An approximately 1.2 gigawatt farm will be set up, likely with the newest and most powerful GE turbines. Poland is expected to award up to 10.9 gigawatts of offshore wind projects by 2030 and up to 28 gigawatts of offshore wind by 2050. The parties signed a memorandum of understanding to acquire the leases and implement cutting-edge technology. We're implementing a strategy that assumes an increase in capacity from renewable energy sources to over 2.5 gigawatts by the end of this decade, said Daniel Obajtek, president of the management board of PKN Orlen. The construction of offshore wind capacities in the Baltic Sea is one of the key development projects of PKN Orlen, in line with its long-term strategy. The company currently owns one license through its SPV Baltic Power Company, which has a concession for the construction of wind farms with a maximum total capacity of up to 1.2 gigawatts. The project is being implemented in partnership with Canadian company Northland Power. Construction is planned to start in 2023 and be completed by 2026. In the upcoming concession procedure, the outfit plans to acquire new locations, relying on its own and GE Renewable Energy knowledge and experience. GE Renewable Energy already operates over 300 onshore wind turbines, delivering 900 megawatts in Poland. As U.S. forces are in the final phase of leaving Kabul, ending 2 decades of involvement in Afghanistan, Kabul residents welcome the withdrawal, although they are worried about their uncertain future. Just over 1,000 civilians at the Kabul airport remain to be flown out before troops withdraw. The collapse of the Afghan government leaves an administrative vacuum that has led to fears of an economic crisis and widespread hunger. Prices for commodities like flour, oil, and rice are rapidly rising, and the currency is plunging, with money changers across the border in Pakistan already refusing to accept the Afghani. On Saturday, officials ordered banks to reopen and imposed a limit on withdrawals to $200 or 20,000 Afghani. There are long queues forming outside bank branches of people trying to get their money out. Meanwhile, thousands of Afghanis are desperate to flee the country. Satellite images of the border between Afghanistan and Pakistan show thousands of refugees. A Planet Labs image taken on August 2nd on the road leading to the Friendship Gate at Spin Boldak was empty. In another image dated August 19th, 4 days after the Taliban entered Kabul and President Ashraf Ghani fled the country, a long line of trucks could be seen on the road. On August 24th, crowds of people could be seen filling the streets that were empty just a few days before. And finally, amid the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan, U.S. President Joe Biden found a few moments to talk to Israeli Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett to reset the tone of U.S. Israeli relations and narrow sharp differences over how to deal with Iran's nuclear program. Media speculate that Biden was not in top form during the meeting, however. Namely, he apparently took a bit of a snooze.
I fully support replenishing Israel's Iron Dome system. And we're also going to discuss the threat from Iran and our commitment to ensure Iran never develops a nuclear weapon. But we're putting diplomacy first and seeing where that takes us. But if diplomacy fails, we're ready to turn to other options. We'll support Israel's developing deeper ties as well with the Arab and Muslim neighbors and globally. That's a trend that I think should be encouraged, not discouraged, and we're going to do all we can to be value-added.
Tensions complicated relations between Bennett's predecessor, Benjamin Netanyahu, who was close to former President Donald Trump, and the last Democratic administration led by Barack Obama with Biden as his vice president. Biden said he and Bennett were discussing the threat from Iran and our commitment to ensure Iran never develops a nuclear weapon.
You know, these very days illustrate what the world would look like if a radical Islamic regime acquired a nuclear weapon. That marriage would be a nuclear nightmare for the entire world. Iran is the world's #1 exporter of terror, instability, and human rights violations. And as we sit here right now, the Iranians are spinning their centrifuges in Natanz and Fordow. And we gotta stop it. And we both agree. So we've developed a comprehensive strategy that we're going to be talking about with 2 goals. The first goal is to stop Iran on its regional aggression and start rolling him back into the box. And the second is to permanently keep Iran away from ever being able to break out to a nuclear weapon. As I told you, Mr. President, Israel never had and never will ask America to send troops to defend ourselves. That's our job. We will never outsource our security. It's our responsibility to take care of our fate. But we do thank you for the tools and the back you've been giving us and you're giving us.
Social media, however, are circulating clips that show the POTUS to be rather not fully awake during the meeting. As always, thanks for tuning in this evening. I hope you have a great week ahead.